Absolutely never a bad day to talk to Antawn Jamison,
That's
one of
right.
the greatest players in Carolina history, but also one of the greatest guys in Carolina history. But even better today when there's a lot going on with Tar Heel basketball and nobody who knows more about it from several different angles than Antawn Jamison. So, Antoine, thanks so much for being with us today.
Not a problem. I always enjoy having a conversation with you guys, and anytime we talk about Carolina basketball, and in this scenario, we're talking about improving Carolina basketball. I'm all for it and glad to be a part of it.
Antoine, there's probably some Tar Heel fans hearing the name Michael Malone and thinking, who's that guy? Tell,
Yeah.
tell them what they should know.
I met Coach Malone when I got traded from Washington, D.C. to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was on that coaching staff, and when I met him, man, he is a one of those guys who grew up around basketball. I mean, his dad was a coach. His dad actually coached me in the NBA as well on a professional level. So ever since he was able to walk, Mike Malone has known nothing but X's and O's and so forth. And I think the thing that kind of gravitated me towards Mike is first and foremost, unbelievable coach. He knows the game. Uh, but what really kind of struck a chord with me it's the way he's able to be very relatable to his players. He was one of the guys on that team that could really talk to LeBron, get him on board, get him to like really fall in line. And as a coach, as you know, you got to be able to do that with your superstars and also the last guy on the bench who probably won't play. Mike shows those characteristics, and just in all, a good guy. When you guys get the opportunity, you met him before, but when you really get an opportunity to sit down and talk to him, genuinely, and this is one of the things that really sold me on the hire. He embodies all the characteristics of Carolina basketball. Uh, he sat down to talk about Coach Smith, Coach Guthridge, Matt Doherty, Roy Williams, and Hubert Davis. And he was saying, guys, I know what Carolina basketball is all about. Um, I just wanted to continue to, you know, do the things that they did to get Carolina basketball to where it's at, and then to take it to the future. So, unbelievable guy, great character, great human being. He's a father, and you know, I'm excited because of the personal relationship I have with him and knowing what Carolina basketball is getting. We love Hubert Davis. Going to miss him. He is Carolina basketball as well. We all know that this is a business and things like this happens. Um, Coach Malone knows the expectations of Carolina basketball. He knows he broke down stats. The last time we won the ACC tournament, the last time we won a national tournament, the last time we had guys drafted in the top 4 or 5. Uh, his concerns early was, am I an NBA guy? And I told Coach, I'm like, Coach, the NBA is and college basketball are pretty much on the same level. And he did some thinking. He talked to his wife and his daughter, and um, he knew that this was one of the best jobs of all of basketball. He still had some job opportunities on the NBA level, and he said he went with his heart, his gut. The thing that he liked about taking this position is to see how united we were with the AD, Steve, and Bubba. Those guys were unbelievable. They put me on the board to help facilitate this. They knew I had connections on the NBA level. I've been through coaches searches before, and also I'm a reflection of the history of Carolina basketball. Also, we had some other important people as well. I keep that, on the low, but very excited. When we got off the call, he said his daughter, she's in Chapel Hill, and she said, saying that we do down here is a great day to be a Tar Heel. And he has Carolina blue on, and you can just tell he was excited. He couldn't wait to get off the call and start hitting up the recruits that already committed. A lot of the guys on the team, he wanted to reach out to them. He's Antoine. I was up all night looking at film and things of that nature. So he's one of those guys. He's going to outwork, always be in the gym, but also too He knows what being the head coach of Carolina basketball requires, and it's just not X and O's. It's just not dealing with the players, but the community, our donors. He was excited to meet a lot of those guys. So I'm very confident. I've been on the phone talking to a lot of my fellow alumni and just letting them know if they had any questions about how we went through this process and how we ended up with Coach Malone. I answered. Me and Vince talked for like an hour. Shimon, we talked for an hour and a half. The same thing with Brendan. We talked for a little bit. So those guys are on board. I'm gonna do the same thing with Jawad Williams is on that team as well. So Jawad knows him pretty well. So he's confident in them, and just all in all, just an unbelievable great hire. He's been happy and just ecstatic to boots on the ground to get going and to get this program to where we are accustomed to having it.
Twan, so many guys say when talking about Michael Malone, a great X and O's guys, like just a really good basketball mind. As somebody who's been around the game his whole life, like you have, what makes you understand? What makes you know? What makes somebody like Michael Malone somebody that you respect from the X and O level?
Um, this guy's relentless as far as trying to be innovative, trying to be ahead of the game. The game has changed so much. If you watch Denver and the way they did things, like he implemented some things that was very fast forward. And my time with him in Cleveland, I was just blown away. Just the way he's not only able to understand the game, is one thing to understand it, but how can you talk to these players and get it to transition on the floor? I mean, he was sitting there and he was like, hey, it's unacceptable to contest the shots. Your guys are ranked 300 and something in NCAA contested threes. You can't win games like that. He was very adamant about analytics, getting more European. Like he's international player. He's just all over. And it's just not about just the X's and O's. It's about the other things that, brings all those things, all those variables together. One of the smartest coaches I've been around. And believe me, I played for a lot of coaches, and he has, and I know a lot of my Carolina Tar Heels don't jump the gun, but the one thing that stuck out with Coach Smith is the confidence. He drew some up, and he allowed and made us believe that it would work. I tell people all the time, we played NC State, and we down like 10 points with a minute and something, and just cool, collective. He said, we're going to do this trap. We're going to turn it over. It's going to happen. And we just like, but once you believe in a coach like Coach Smith, he's been there, done it before, it was easy for us to fall in line. And Coach Malone has a lot of those characteristics as well. Him and Coach Williams talked, and Coach Williams let him know about the expectations and what he expected. And he was a big fan of his. And he was, he was ready to soak all the information in. I think Eddie Fogler is another Carolina guy he talked to as well as far as on the coaching tree. But I'm confident, man. I told people throughout this process, man, I had some nights where I couldn't sleep because I know how important this hire was. And I knew that if we got it right, we would have our guy for the next 15 to 20 years. And most importantly, the things that we're accustomed to at Carolina would definitely take fruition. And the thing about it, like, he really wanted to come to Carolina. I think he was at one point just like, I've only coached on the NBA level. Like, can I do it? But I think once he talked to some of his peers and things like that, it was like the makeup of college basketball is just close to as far as dealing with agents, dealing with NIL and transfer portal, and it's almost like trades and things of that nature. So I think once he realized that it wasn't that big of a difference outside of coaching, he felt comfortable and confident as each day went on. And he reached out to our boy Hoops and said, hey, man, like, help me. Anybody know Hoops? Hoops knows the inside of Carolina basketball, and Hoops did an unbelievable job. We got to take him out to dinner for really like helping us out, sealing the deal with this. But Um, he was excited and ecstatic to get on boots on the grounds, and he said, Antoine, he said, I can't do this by myself. And he said, I know what Carolina basketball is all about. I talked to Coach Williams. I think he said he talked to Kenny Smith, Michael Jordan, those guys. But he said Carolina basketball would not be Carolina basketball, and this is not going to work if I don't have the support of the alumni, the former players. And he's going to do everything possible to reach out to those guys, let them feel confident. He's going to, pick their brain on things that they've seen that they want improvements on and so forth. But he understands what it's going to take, and he's definitely open to it. And I don't know if it came out. We got some coaches who's still going to be retained. That Sean May is still going to be on the staff, if I'm not mistaken, and Pat Sullivan, who's get to keep his position. And I think he says a couple of players, couple of coaches that he's going to bring in to help out as well too. So having the extension of somebody outside of the family that we've never seen before, but still keep some of the guys who represent Carolina basketball and who know what Carolina basketball is all about.
Antoine's alluded to this throughout the conversation, but he was intimately involved in this process. And Twan, there's some Carolina fans who are worried about the Carolina family and the fact that Michael Malone was not born into the Carolina family. How have you explained how that aspect of this will work to your fellow lettermen, and how would you explain it to Tar Heel fans who are worried about that?
Uh, the one thing that would have made it difficult is somebody who didn't embrace what being a Tar Heel was all about. But most importantly, to me, not only the best coach or the best motivator, innovator, exiting those guys, like he truly said, like, I know I'm not part of the family. How would the Tar Heel family feel about an outsider? And he just started breaking down all these qualities that he brings to the table. And I told him, Coach, a lot of those qualities that you just mentioned, those are, Carolina basketball. That's what we're all about. That's what we hang our hat on. And I'm not worried about him and his message to the family. I think it would be perceived in a positive manner. A lot of people who know about the game of basketball have a lot of respect for Mike Malone, not only as a coach, but as a human being. So I say to my fellow Tar Heels, like, he is the right guy for the job. Believe me, this search was, I lost a lot of sleep and just trying to figure out, like, I can't have Carolina, my boys and my family mad at me, but when he took the job, man, I had the biggest smile. It was the first time I probably smiled in a while, but I know what our alumni wants to see represented. I know what our alumni expects, and I'm fully confident that this is the guy that can do that for us. And just give him some time. I know it's the first time we've went outside of the family, and I think it's a little bit more easier for me because I've known him for a while. And I know how difficult and hard it can be to know that we need a coach. And for the last week or so, we keep hearing all these names and things of that nature. And I love that it was so many guesses as far as who we was going to pick. And this was the one guy. I don't think his name was mentioned one time, if I'm not mistaken. But um, it could have been very scary because a lot of people was just, I'm on the group chat with the former players, and I'm just reading. I'm just sitting there like, I want to tell them it's going to be okay, but I gotta, I can't have Bubba and Steve mad at me. So, but I listened to their concerns, and that was one of the things I talked to Vince and Brendan and Shimon and Macto about, and Hoots and Sean are going to talk to, a lot of those guys. I'm gonna call Marvin Williams here. We about to be neighbors, so just to like ease their mind and like, look, ask Jawad. Jawad knows him pretty well. Played with him, and Jawad's been on that NBA coaching carousel as well, so he can speak on his behalf as well. But this is truly a guy who is an unbelievable coach, but most importantly, wanted to come to Carolina, wanted to embrace what the Carolina family was all about, knowing that he wasn't born into the family, but my message to them was give him the opportunity to show you what he can do, what he can bring to the table. And I guarantee you that you're going to be confident and happy that this guy is a Carolina Tar Heel and he's going to represent the university the way it's supposed to be represented.
Antawn, just one last thing for me, and this is probably an unfair and a difficult question to ask you, and we'll probably ask Michael Malone when we get a chance to talk to him.
Yeah.
If if you could say, hey, a Michael Malone, the style of play that they may want to play, like the type of basketball that he believes in, or that you feel like he believes in, or that you've experienced with him, what would you say that would be?
He's going to hold every player accountable from the top recruit to the walk on. The one thing I would say about Mike is that he really is about player development. You know, when you come in, you're going to leave this university as a better player, a better man, and also you're going to get an education. Those are the things that Coach Smith really stressed to me when I came to Carolina. But you watch it, man. It's fast paced. They get up and down. This is going to be a system where recruits, players who are transferring, want to come in because you can really showcase your talents. But also, too, I think I believe the formula is a winning formula as well. He's going to put the right players in the right position. We're going to get up and down. Just because you are a five doesn't mean you can't put it on the floor. He wants everybody to be able to play multiple positions. The style of play is going to be fun. He's going to be demanding. So I'm excited to see. That's just me guessing. I don't know if that's going to change because it is college basketball, but I truly believe Michael Malone is suited for college basketball because it's hard on the NBA level when you're dealing with, it's millionaires in college basketball too, but when you have 35 and 30-year-old men and you're trying to motivate every day when it's 82 games, but to come in this environment, you're playing 38, 39 games, 2 games a week, and you're dealing with players who want to learn. You're dealing with players who want to improve and get better. And I truly believe he's the coach that can have players, only if you're here for a year or you're transferring in. I think that we have kind of gotten away from the name on front of the jersey. And I truly believe Coach Malone is going to not only get these guys player development, getting them to the point where they can succeed beyond Carolina basketball, but they're going to care about the name on the front of the jersey as well. And that will really stick out to me, and knowing the type of coach he is and the human that he is. I can't wait for these players to be at his house and, hang out with his wife and get to know that it's like a mad scientist in that. I mean, I'm just like, there's certain things he was coaching, and I went over and I went back and looked at some of those films, and I just, this guy understands the game of basketball, and he understands what it takes to not just win, but have a very positive and winning tradition and program, and that's what Carolina basketball embodies.
Main thing I learned in this is I can't wait to see those neighborhood basketball games with Antawn and Marvin Williams in the
Yes.
Oh,
same neighborhood. That
yeah,
neighborhood's gonna have a squad.
I believe you. We're not playing full court, and it's gonna be one dribble and shoot. And it's funny, and Marvin, I hate to put your business out there, but we're literally like, I'm building right next to him, and I'm driving, and every morning he's running down the neighborhood. I'm like, you don't want to go to the gym, or you don't have a treadmill in your house? And he's like, you like to be outside on the road. And it's funny. I'm like, it's 15 degrees outside, and I'm seeing they go Marvin out there, jogging. And it has gotten slower and slower every time I see him. So we'll see how it goes. But you won't see too many of those one-on-one games.